My bookshelves are an absolute mess. I haven't looked at them or had them even up for about a year, maybe longer. I recently got my office, which is the space that we're in now. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to do activities in here. But every day I stare at this shelf and how crazy it is. And I've been waiting to film this video so that way we can do it together. I like to do my bookshelf based on vibes, but this time I'm gonna do something fun. I'm gonna do a directly like to be read next pile. Like I'm going to pull off of that shelf whenever I'm looking for a book to read. So I'm going to move things around. There's going to be a favorite shelf, a to be read next shelf, and like a priority list. And then we're gonna go strictly off of vibes like fae books, witch books, atmospheric books, thrillers, contemporary, anything like that. I know some people like to color code their shelves or go by alphabet or like author. Not me. I just like vibes. I'm a mood reader and I know what I want at the time of wanting to read, and it's very specific. So I know that if I just need a witch book, I can go, oh, I'm looking for a witch, atmospheric, dark, spooky forest. And then I'm like, okay, perfect for the wolf. It's actually insane. And the top of this, don't even look, don't even look. So I also have a stack of books down here. I think it's easier if I just go and pull all the other books that I know won't be here off. How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? This shelf right here is right in front of my desk, and I'm gonna make this my favorites shelf because it's already my favorite shelf. But the problem is there's like books that I haven't read yet on here, so I need to take those off. This is one of my favorite books of 2022, and this book is heavily mentioned in it. I bought this book so I could read it, but also to be paired with this guy because I thought that would be really cute. My problem is it's gonna be on my favorite shelf, but I haven't read it. So I'm going to not do that yet. I'll just take it off for now. Some of these books I literally have not read. There was a hiccup with shipping. I received 2 copies of The Dreams of Ice and Iron. This is by Kayla Edwards, who wrote The City of Gods and Monsters, which is another one of my favorite books of 2022. I loved this book, but she wrote these books. Normally they would go together, right? Because they're the same author, but I haven't read these. Same thing with the second book in the Crescent City series. I haven't read it. I'm really scared to. Everyone's scaring me with this one. I loved Crescent City. It's on my favorite shelf. So there's like things like that where these are good, but I don't know if they're my favorite, you know? I have to figure this out. One thing I know for sure, if you know me, I'm screaming this book to the rooftops. Everyone I know is either gifted a copy or told to read it. I love Lotus. And Oliver, my dream man, is obsessed with raccoons. I got this little squishmallow so that way it could be put together like that. Is that crazy, like weird, or is that fun? Down here we have a shelf that's just straight up good times. Down here, the last 2 is where it gets a little tricky because those are not favorites. And then if we come over here, this is where it just becomes absolute anarchy. I'm trying not to get stressed. I will not get stressed. This was loosely my fae shelf. The problem is, I don't know if these are fae. Is Graceling fae? I don't know. I put them there. I didn't think much of it, and I kept it moving. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's not. This is so unhinged. This is nonfiction, so we'll put the nonfictions in a pile. And then this is a contemporary romance. I'm not a big contemporary gal, so that's gonna be a tiny shelf. Another contemporary. Oh, Mary Oliver. I have to put this one aside. That's gonna be a current read for sure. This is going to be my reading soon pile, so I'm gonna make that. I have my windows open and people are straight up just watching. It's fine. Atmospheric collection I have going on here. I got these to read because I didn't read them as a kid, but I feel like they're super nostalgic. And I wanted something that was just like fun vampire vibes to remind me of my childhood. So I got those. Okay, this is fun. We have a fae box set. I read the first one and absolutely loved it. Kiss the Fae, that's the first one. I loved it. These are all out of order because they fell. This is a fae series, so it's gonna go here somewhere. That's fine because these aren't fae. I also have this like fun little like fae handbook that just looks silly and a good time. Tips for flower pressing, things like that. So that's gonna go here because why not? Actually, it'll fit this vibe really well. Squeeze it in. Yep. Can you see that? Did I just do all that work and you couldn't even see? Love my life. Here's where it gets a little tricky to me. I have like spooky atmosphere books. I would classify these in the same realm. but I wouldn't classify like these in the same realm of Priory of the Orange Tree. There's like atmospheric dark academia, then there's atmospheric fantasy. So like maybe, am I thinking too much into this? Here's what I'm thinking. Like I would classify like these together, and I would classify like For the Wolf and For the Throne, The Wolf and the Woodsman, and like The Far and Wilder Magic together, for sure. On the Sunbeam I'm gonna move because it is a graphic novel. Chosen Ones I'm gonna put down here with these guys. Sorcery of Thorns is another, I would put this with these. Like that makes sense to me. I think we're making progress. This makes sense. Like in my brain, I'm like, yeah. I'm gonna put Addie de la Rue with this kind of like darker atmosphere. This is why I've been putting off these shelves for so long, because this is so stressful to me. This is crazy. I've never read a V.E. Schwab book in my life. Oh, I have more books. Okay, this was fun. I went to the thrift store and I found a bunch of like really nice copies that are like signed. So I have all of those. I think this one's missing the dust jacket, Where Dreams Descend. So I have those to go through. Where do I want my to-read pile to go? That's the question. There's random books down here that I haven't read, but I found at the thrift store and I was like, okay, well maybe I'd want to. A Throne of Glass, and then I have a random one. I don't know which number this is. It's a Bloomsbury version of Queen of Shadow. Down here is where it gets a little complicated because this is typically the shelf where I'm like, I don't know what this is and I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore. This looks cute. I think I'm gonna do a to-read soon pile up here. I wasn't going to, but I think that just makes the most sense because there's just a lot of space up here. I think I want to do an unhaul because I have a lot of books and I'm looking and I'm like, I probably will never read that. I like The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. She's a great writer, she's a great author, but I just don't feel like I would read that. I have The Realm Breaker by her, that's more my vibe. I've heard like 2 people say that this is their favorite book of all time, The Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. I think I'm gonna put this on my to be read shelf. I have like fun movie books because I'm a huge movie person. This is called Movies and Other Things. It's the 2nd book in a series. This one is The Jedi Doth Return. And last but not least, How 1999 Blew Up the Big Screen, the best movie year ever. Things like that. And then I'm pretty sure you peeked it. I have a Star Wars books over here, comics, things like that. Critical Role. And there's a Rhett and Link book floating around in the abyss somewhere around here. Question becomes, how do I want to approach it from here? I have Shadow and Bone, Crooked Kingdom, Six of Crows. This is very much YA, and this is my YA shelf, so I'm sticking those for there right now. I have 2 Night Circus copies. I have never read Night Circus in my life. I'm not like saying it's a bad book, I'm just saying why did I need 2 copies? It's because I go to the thrift store and I see cool copies and then I forget that I have them. Here's the thing, buddies. I want to have like the books I know for a fact I'm gonna read within eye level, and then everything else not. Let's take off. This is like self-help, nonfiction, spirituality, herbs, garden, tarot, like that realm of stuff. I genuinely do not know how to approach this. Red Rising, The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings series, maybe in the vibes section. I think I'm gonna move all of these books that are YA over because I have 2 YA shelves. Currently my record player is down here. If you're curious what records I have on deck in my office at the moment, I have Thank You Next by Ariana Grande, ABBA's new album The Voyage, 2 Secrets After Sex albums, and Battleborn by The Killers. Water Break for sure. This is a lot. I'm gonna go do this and then I'll be back to show you the progress. You guys, look at the progress we made. It already looks so much better. It's still a mess, and I do have about 15 books on the floor that I have no idea where to put. Here we have my Star Wars, movies, graphic novel, and a little bit of classics. Then we have witchy stuff, followed by anything horror or dark. Like I have like Dracula over here. Then down here we have like mysteries and thrillers. And you can't see that, but down the bottom is like more like magic realism. I don't really necessarily gravitate towards those usually. Then we have a nonfiction section, which is pretty bare. Here we have more atmospheric stuff. I have all of Olivia Blake stuff. Here we go into more atmospheric, like foresty, creepy. And then I haven't read these books yet, so I don't know the vibe, but I was trying to pick up on what it would be, and I don't know if this would be summer or fall, but with the orange I made it fall for now. If it's summer, let me know. But I have fall, winter into like spring, summer. Down here is just miscellaneous that I could not figure out what to do with. It's just a lot of fantasy. I have Gilded Wolves, The Chosen Ones, Realmbreaker, a random A Court of Wings and Ruin, the Vampire Academy series. Down here I have Red Rising, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Lee Bardugo, Outlander, just like random fantasy. Up top here we have contemporary because I don't have a lot of it. Then we go into my fae stuff. Over here is my to be read priority pile. Here's some of my favorites. They're fiction, but they're more either dark, mafia, or like realistic, as in like it's not fantasy. Here's my favorites for fantasy. Then we get into more YA fantasy here because I didn't know what to put with it. And then down on the bottom shelves we have even more YA fantasy. Then there's like my like herbalist and like spiritual books of like tarot and things like that. And then I have like a Clockwork Angel and random books. So as you can kind of see, I have random books scattered throughout where I don't know what to do with. This corner here, these. So I think I'm going to go through and pick out some books that I know I want to prioritize and read so that way I can make room on the shelves, and then those will go up there. Then I'm going to sort through the books that I know for a fact I won't read so I can donate those to secondhand bookstore. So my goal with doing this wasn't just to organize my shelves, but it was to collect inventory and see what I have on my shelves that I know for a fact I won't read, so that way I can do an unhaul. If you want, I can show you the books that I'm going to unhaul. But I want to make room on my shelves because I want to get books that I know for a fact that I love, that I would want to read. It's just a lot of books. I'm going to be moving and things like that, so I just need to downsize my collection, and if I know what I have, then I'm more inclined to read. My goal is to slow down ebooks and prioritize physical books on my shelf so I can start donating these and getting rid of these to make room for my favorites, but also just to like downsize my collection because I want to move soon. Anyways, that is my book collection. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.